Katappa Kamble, you are not following the instruction, whatever given to you. First write your roll number, that is B, then space 61. After that write your name. Don't write TYB, TYA. First write only A or B, which is your division. Then give some space, that is one space, and then write the roll number. Don't give any dash or something that. Just give the space. Remove that dash and give the space. See, the taking of attendance of my way is that I will copy this your attendance in your Excel. If you don't follow the format, your roll number may get skipped. Okay, so you have to take care of this. So whatever instruction I'm telling you, follow those instructions as it is. Still, I am seeing over here that most of the students have not followed the instructions. Okay, so just write A or B. Don't give any dash, nothing, nothing. Just give the space and write your roll number. That's it. Now you are familiar with this Zoom. You are using this for quite a long time. It is just a job of 2 minutes. Okay. Still I am seeing that TA 59, B 23, you have not given the space in between B and 23. Just give single space. B 59, remove that dash and just give the space in between B and 59. TA 53, TA 47, follow the instructions. TA 59, TA 58. See the other students, the way they have given their division, then roll number, and then name. Pranav Jagdale, write your roll number first. Okay. So follow the instructions, and now we will start. So as you know that the name of the subject is Design of Concrete Structures 1. Previously this subject is for final year, and now this subject is for third year according to the new syllabus. Okay, so new curriculum change by the university. Syllabus is the same. So now this is the screen PPT. The screen is visible to you. I think the screen is visible to all. So yes or no? Are you able to see the screen PPT? Anybody can reply. Are you able to see the PPT? Okay. Yes. This is the subject design of concrete structures 1. So this is not the paper of 100 marks. The total is 100. Paper is of 470, as you know our pattern. Now we will see if on offline examination is there, then your regular paper will be there. If online examination is there, then as per the university, maybe you will get the MCQs only. Okay, so term work is there for 25 marks. For these term works you need to do the assignments. Total there are 7 units are there in this subject, so you need to complete the 7 assignments for that. So in brief, here in the course objectives it is given that what is expected from you after learning the subject. So here in this subject you will understand the concept of working stress and limit state method. So these are the two methods which we are used for the designing of various structures. Now it means that, now suppose, now this is beam, suppose the beam is there, this is a beam. Okay, a beam is there, and below the beam column is placed. So suppose this is the column. Okay, so this is your column, and this above structure is B. Now you know that this on this beam there is load from the slab. Okay, roll number 9, Kshitija Metkari. Huh? So now you are third year students. Now you should mute your volume. This also shows that you are not paying attention towards the lecture. Okay, A division girls are don't have lecture link. Okay, then if you are there in that group, please send the link. Hmm? TYA, what is the name of that group? I will send the link. Anybody can type here in the chat box TYA girls. Okay, okay. Just now I have sent the link. Okay, thank you for informing, Anjali Kambri. So now I have sent the link. They may get joined. We have also just started now. Okay. So now what I was telling to you, that see, if this is a beam, and you know that below the beam column is placed, okay, to transfer the load, and on this beam the load is coming from the slab. Okay, slab is there at the top, so mostly the UDL is acting on this beam. So what is the actual meaning of design? Design is that in this design we are going to provide the steel in this beam. How many number of bars are required, what is the diameter of bar, what should be the spacing between the bars. Okay, those bars what we have provided, those are good to take the bending moment or not, or they are sufficient to take the bending moment which is occurring in the beam. The bar should resist the bending moment. Okay, otherwise what will happen, suppose now this is the beam, and due to the load, suppose the load is acting on the beam in this way. Okay, so due to load this beam will bend in this way. Okay, so this bending, due to this bending the tensile stresses are developed at the outer fibers, and compressive, so compressive stresses will develop over here, and tensile stresses will develop at the outermost fibers, and due to this excessive tension the beam, the cracks will develop in the beam, and it will collapse, so failure will occur. Okay, so we want to avoid these things. So we should avoid these things. As a designer, you should design this structure in this way that it must be safe. So in this subject, what are you going to learn? For different types of structures, what is the reinforcement? Okay, this is called as reinforcement. Suppose now in this beam, after your design, you finalize that 3 bars of 20 mm are required in this beam. So I will draw the reinforcement diagram like this. Okay, second bar will be beside the first bar. This is the first bar, second bar will be beside this, third bar will be uh, after that. If I show you in the cross section, so those bars will look like this. This is just I am telling you for your understanding. We will design it. There are certain steps are there how to design, but to know what we are going to do in this subject. Okay, so these bars, whatever these bars you have provided here, these bars must be sufficient to take care of this bending moment. Okay, and so this is nothing but design. This we are going to learn over here, how to design the structures. Okay, so for designing this, earlier working stress method was used. Okay, after the working stress method, the second theory comes, which is ultimate load method, and now popularly nowadays this limit state method is used everywhere. Okay, this limit state method is used, and this method gives you the optimum design. Okay, so what is this limit state method and how to design by using the limit state method, that we will see later on as we start with our units. Okay, so this you are mainly going to learn over here. Then again, to gain the knowledge of flexure, shear, bond and anchorage. Okay, flexure means bending moment, shear means shear force, bond stress is there. Okay, that is the stress between you can say that concrete and steel, that I will tell you later on how the bond strength is calculated. And then the anchorage. Anchorage means what? Now suppose I will draw the diagram once again. Suppose this is your beam. Okay, this is your beam, and the column is there to support the beam. Okay. And here is the column is there to support the beam. This is your column, and this is beam. Now what will happen, whatever the bars you have provided, now suppose you have designed the beam and you have provided 20 mm diameter bar, then this bar at the bottom of the beam will move in this direction, okay, up to this point. And here we will left some space, that space is known as cover. Okay, I will tell you what is cover and effective cover later on. So that is cover, and after that we won't leave this bar as it is over here. We bend this bar and insert it into the column up to some certain length. Okay, so whatever may be the insertion of this bar into the column, actually this bar is from the beam. This is not the bar which is designed for the column, but this bar we have embedded and we have embedded into the column, okay, for a certain length. So this phenomenon is known as the anchorage. Okay, we are anchoring this bar into the column, and whatever may be the length of this column, this is called as development length of this bar, up to which this bar is moving into the column. That is called as development length. Okay, that is called as development length, and from this development length, this bond stress is calculated. Okay, so this is the introductory part, whatever I am telling to you. So we will see all this in detail later on. Just now, for your understanding or for the awareness what is there in the subject, I am telling you in brief what is there written over here in this point number 1 and point number 2. Okay, then after that you are going to deal with the behavior of columns subjected to eccentric load. Okay, so axial load is also there and eccentric load is also there. What is the meaning of axial load and eccentric load? I think you are familiar with this. What is the axial load and what is the eccentric load? Now suppose a column is there. This is the column. Okay. So what I will do. Now suppose this is the column, and now I will draw the axis of the column. Okay. So suppose this is the axis of the column. What is this? This is the axis of column. This is axis of column and this is your column. Now suppose now a beam is resting on this column. Okay, and now the load is transferred from beam to the column. Suppose now a load is transferred at here exactly on the axis of the column. Suppose the load is transferring through this point. Okay, suppose the load is acting over here. P is the load. So load is exactly acting along the axis of the column. Load is exactly acting along the axis of the column. So this is not a eccentric load. Okay, this is called as concentric load. This is called as concentric load. It is acting on the axis of the column. And now you can easily understand what is the meaning of eccentric load. Okay, so what is the meaning of eccentric load now? So now instead of this, suppose now the load is acting somewhere here. Okay, so the load is acting somewhere here. Okay, now if P load is acting over here, now you can clearly see that there is a distance between the axis of the column and line of action of the force. You know that what is the line of action of the force. If you extend the toe end, if you extend the tail and head of this arrow, then you will get the line of action of this what we can say, load. So I will show you still. So now if I extend this line, okay, this line, it will move like this. Okay, so this is the line of action of the force. Now if you see that this line of action of the force doesn't coincide with the axis of the column. There is some gap in between these two. So this is called as eccentricity. This is called as eccentricity, whatever gap is there, and load may be acting on this side, right hand side, or it may be on the left hand side. Okay, so this is nothing but this is the eccentricity, and this type of load we call this load as a eccentric load. So that also we are going to see in the designing of the column. Okay, so if we move to the next part now, after this is the your section 1. Okay, section 1, and now in this section 1 there are 4 units. Okay, in the section 1 there are 4 units. So unit number 1 is introduction. So in the introduction, what we are going to deal with philosophies of design and their relative advantages and disadvantages. Okay. After that, types of limit state method. Okay, so there are basically two major types of limit state method. One, it is called as limit state of serviceability, and second, it is called as limit state of collapse. Okay, so we are going to see it in detail later on. Then characteristic strength, you already know this thing, characteristic strength, FCK. You have learned this thing in concrete technology. I think it is in second year. Many of you must know this, or you should know this characteristic strength. Then characteristic load. Okay, then what is load factor? Then the factor of safety. Okay, so what are the factor of safeties, and then IS recommendations. So we are going to use here IS code, and that IS 456-2000, that we are going to use here for limit state method design. Okay, this IS code we are going to use. So I will show you the IS code, or you may know that what is the IS code. When we are dealing with the numericals, at that time I will show you the IS code, and I will also send you one soft copy of the IS code on the group. You download that copy, so it will be easier for you while we are solving the numericals. So we have to take some values from the IS code. For DOS, we are taking some sections and some values from steel table. Same thing will be here also. Okay. So now, okay, so this we are going to learn in the first unit. So first unit, it is the introductory unit. From exam point of view also, based on the first unit, they are not going to ask you the many questions. Okay, the weightage of this unit is less. So second unit, now the second unit is design of slab, and you will see over here limit state method. So we are going to design the slab by limit state method. So in the slab, one-way slab, one-way continuous slab, two-way slab with different end conditions as per IS code, and cantilever slab. So how many types of slabs we are going to study? One-way slab, one. Then one-way continuous slab. Okay, this is the second. Then this is the third type, two-way slab. And in this, there are around about 8 to 9 conditions are there, but the design steps are same. Okay, but the design steps are same. After that, cantilever slab. So this is fourth slab. So in the second unit, you are going to learn these 4 types of slabs, how to design these slabs. Okay, in our day-to-day life, we see these RCC slabs over our that is roofs, but we don't know how to design those, how the reinforcement is placed in those slabs. Okay, you can easily calculate the quantity of the concrete. Okay, but to provide the steel you need to design. So this we are going to learn in unit number 2. Okay, and in the examination, if it is offline, there is 100% one question will be there. Out of these 4 slab, they will ask you to design any one slab. Okay, and if the examination is online, we don't know how your examination will be till date, but if it is online, then multiple choice questions will be there based on this unit. Okay, so I will give you these MCQ questions also as we are progressing unit by unit. Okay, after completion of the unit, I will give you the MCQs. So now this you are going to study in the second unit, design of slab. Then third is the this is the design of beam. Okay, here analysis and design of singly and doubly reinforced rectangular sections. Okay, so we are going to design the rectangular beams. Okay, here, so for your syllabus is very less. Only the rectangular sections are there in this unit. Okay, and singly and doubly I will tell you when we will deal with this unit. Okay, so just for time being, you remember that the rectangular beams which we are always seeing in our day-to-day life in any structure, those beams we are going to design in this third unit, that is the unit number 3. Okay, so now after this, so next unit is your unit number 4. Okay, so analysis and design of flanged sections. Unit number 4, analysis and design of flanged sections. So here analysis and design of singly and doubly reinforced T and L beams. So in the previous unit, that is unit number 3, rectangular beams are there for your syllabus. Okay. And now unit number 4, we are going to see what is T action and what is L action. Okay. So T beam and L beam means what is T action and what is L action. So one point here only in the first lecture, I want to tell you that, see here what they have mentioned, analysis and design of singly and doubly reinforced T and L beams. So there is a confusion. Many students think that the shape of the beam is like T or it is like L. So it is not the thing. The beam is the rectangular beam only. Okay, the shape of the beam is rectangular only. But this is T action. Okay, T action which takes place in this beam. Okay, the T action it is takes place in this beam. So these types of rectangular beams are called as T beams. Okay, and in some beams L action is there. Okay, L action happen, and what is T action and what is L action, that we will see later on. Okay, and those types of beams are then called as L beams when there is a L action. Normally corner beams are L beams. Okay, normally corner beams are designed as L beams. L action is there. But be clear with this. T and L beam is their cross section is not the shape of T or L. Their cross section is rectangular only. Like in the previous unit, unit number 3. What we are going to do in unit number 3? We are going to analyze and design singly and doubly reinforced rectangular beams. Okay, and in unit number 4 we are going to design T and L beams, but be clear that these beams are rectangular beams, so the cross section of these beams are rectangular only, but these two types of action that is get developed in the beam, T action and L action. Okay, so there are many factors based upon which these two actions are get developed in the beam. So accordingly, we will name these beams as T beam and L beam. Okay, I hope I am clear now. So this ends your first section. So in the section 1, there are 4 units are there. Okay, in section 1, 4 units are there. And now, if we move forward to the section 2, if you see section 2, design of continuous beams. Okay, design of continuous beam. So what is the meaning of continuous beam? A beam which is having more than two supports is nothing but continuous beam. Okay. So design of continuous beams by limit state method. So this we are going to see. So if I draw the normal beam, these are the supports of the beam. Okay. At the end, these supports are provided. So this is called as a simply supported beam. Okay, because this type of support, this is nothing but a simple support. I think you are aware of these things now. And at the end the support is given only. So this is not a continuous beam. A continuous beam is a beam which is having more than two supports normally. So if I draw again for the continuous beam, then suppose now this is again a beam, and now if I provide, now here is one support, here is the second support, this is now third support. So this type of beam is n number of supports may be there, or some cantilever section is also there here towards the left hand side. Okay, here towards the left hand side. Suppose now cantilever may be also there, or overhang portion may be there. So this type of beam which is having more than two supports, generally these types of beams are called as continuous beams. Okay, so we can say that this is our span 1 L1, this is our span 2 L2, and this total beam, if I give the name ABC, so beam ABC is nothing but our continuous beam, or you can say that beam AC is nothing but continuous beam. Okay, so this is the continuous beam. So we are going to deal with the design of this continuous beam. How to design the continuous beam, that we are going to learn in unit number 5. Okay, in unit number 5 we are going to learn these things. Then after that, in unit number 6 here, limit state collapse torsion. So now up till now what you have done in unit number 3, you have designed the rectangular beams. In unit number 4 you are going to design T and L beams. In unit number 5 you are going to design the continuous beams, and now in unit number 6 you are again going to design the beams which are subjected to combined shear and torsion. This is the most important thing. Okay, in an examination, they will ask you the problem based on this only: a beam which is subjected to combined shear, bending and torsion. Okay, combined shear, bending and torsion. Okay, so now if you see, if you learn this subject by paying most attention, then the design of beam and design, it will get cleared. Means after this subject, now you will able to design any type of beam. Okay, in our structure also you are going, you will be able to design any type of beam. So in this DCS one, now in the from unit number 3 to unit number 6, that is unit number 3, unit number 4, unit number 5, unit number 6, in all these units we are going to design the beam only. Okay, but the conditions are different. So these are the different types of beams from loading point of view. Okay, from the perspective of limit state method, and this type of design is generally accepted in the market. Okay, so today whatever STAAD Pro and that ETAB, those software we are using for this structural design, those are based on these theories. Okay, the theory behind that is the same one, and those softwares are run, that is STAAD Pro. The basic for the STAAD Pro is the stiffness method. So this basic should be clear. Rather you should, and this subject is very interesting if you pay attention towards it. Okay, if you miss a single point while I am teaching or I am saying something, or if you missed out some points, then you will not able to understand what is going on when what is I am trying to tell you, and how to design the build. Okay, so and by the way, the subject is very easy. Just the thing is that regularly attend the lectures and do the assignments which I am going to give you. Okay, if you do these two things properly, now there is no need to study this subject at the time of examination also. So that much easy subject is there. Okay, so this is the unit number 6, shear bending and torsion. Now you know what is the shear force, you know what is the bending moment, and you also know what is the torsion. Torsion means twisting moment. So I think twisting moment, most of the you may know the twisting moment. Still, I will tell you what is the twisting moment now. Suppose now this type of circular bar is there. Okay, already you have studied the torsion equation. So now this is the axis of the bar, and when you apply the moment along this axis in this way, okay, in this way, that is the this is called as the twisting moment. You are going to twist this bar. Suppose now this end is fixed. Suppose I have fixed this end, okay, and I am trying to rotate this end in this direction. This is the direction of the rotation you are going to see over here. Okay. So this is the direction of the rotation. In this direction I am going to rotate this. Then what will happen? The point which is suppose here one point is there A. Okay. At here, suppose the point is there A. Due to this rotation, this A point will shift over here. Suppose the new position is A dash, and there will be the twist. If I join these 2 points at the center now over here, I will get one angle. This angle is theta, and this is called as angle of twist. This is called as angle of twist. So this type of moment we will call this as a torsion, or it is called as the twisting moment. So here you are going to see how to design the beam for shear, bending and torsion when all are acting on the beam. Then we are going to learn how to design the beam. So now what was so we are over here. So the beam we are going to design for shear, bending and torsion in unit number 6. Okay. Now after this, the last unit is, this is your last unit. Okay. Design of columns. Design of column. So here in this unit we are going to design the column. So in the second unit we are going to design the slab. From unit number 3 to unit number 6 we are going to design the beams, and in the unit number 7 we are going to design the column. So column, as I have already told you, axially loaded and eccentrically loaded. So axially loaded means eccentricity is 0 here, and eccentrically loaded means some eccentricity is present over there. Okay, so column which is subjected to axially and eccentric load, and just a moment. So the column which is subjected to axial and eccentric load, we are going to design it rectangular columns. The shape of the column may be rectangular or it may be circular. Okay, and for helical reinforcement also we are going to design the column for rectangular and helical reinforcement. Okay, so for the textbooks, if you want to refer, this is the list of the textbooks. All the textbooks are good. You can refer this, all the textbooks. So in that, this B.C. Punnia and A.K. Jain, these textbooks are good. Okay. Uh, then these are some reference books. So I have already told you we are going to refer this IR 456 2000, and this is the SP16 handbook, which is required for the interaction diagrams during the column. This is required only for the column. Okay. So this is the overview of the syllabus, what you are going to learn here in the syllabus. So here now, if coming back to the point some basics that must be clear. Okay. So what I observed many of the times before going to this subject now, you must be very perfect in the calculation of shear force and bending moment. Okay. You should able to calculate the shear force and bending moment of any type of structure. Okay. You should be very clear with the types of supports, which type of support is provided, and what are the reactions of the different types of supports. How many reactions you will get? What is the internal hinge? What is the purpose of providing internal hinge? Okay, how many extra equations you are getting due to internal hinge and why? Okay. So these some of these questions which are basically related to your ISM and structural analysis. In this you must be clear. Then you should be clear with the equations that m by I is equal to f upon y and e by, which is equal to e by r. So in this equation, what is the meaning of each and every quantity? What is the meaning of that f, that is the bending stress? How this bending stress is calculated? Then what is the I? What is the exact meaning of moment of inertia? Okay, so these things. Then what is the formula of moment of inertia for different types of structures? That base also should get cleared from your side. That is, these are some basic things which I am telling you, which are required before going to deal with this subject. Okay, and the most important thing is the shear force and bending moment. Okay, so we will take some revision of the shear force and bending moment for today, and from next lecture onwards we will start with our syllabus, that is the unit number 1. Okay, before that, before going to the unit number 1, some basic information which should be known to you is in this over here. Okay, so design of beams. Now you observe, if you observe the beams carefully, okay, if you observe the beams carefully, then you may observe that in the beam, I will draw the diagram. We will take the new slide, I think. If you see this beam, generally what is there in the beam, this is the cross section of the beam, and along the length it will be look like this. This is the cross section and this is the length. Okay, from this point to this point. So this is your width of the beam. This is the width of the beam, and this total distance, this total distance from here to here, this is called as overall depth of the beam, that is capital D, overall depth of the beam. And here now we provide the reinforcement at the bottom of the beam. Normally we do provide the reinforcement at the bottom of the beam. This reinforcement is always designed, and this reinforcement take care the bending moment which is acting on the beam. Okay, so for this, if you measure the distance up to the center of these bars, okay, I'm saying center from the top, then this is called as effective depth. What do we call this? This is called as effective depth from top to the center of the bar, center of the reinforcement. Okay, at this level, या level पर्यंत, at this level. So whatever may be the distance, this small d is nothing but this is your effective depth. Okay, and this capital D, this is nothing but this is your overall depth. This is overall depth. Okay, So this is a very important point. You should remember this. Again, you you will notice one more thing in the beam. At the top also some bars are provided. Okay. At the top also some bars are provided. So these bars are called as anchorage bars. Okay, these bars are called as anchorage bars. Okay, the purpose of providing these bars is this is provided due to the provision given in the IS code. Okay, which is related to earthquake. That is minimum two bars of 10 mm diameter should be provided at the top. Okay, minimum two bars. Okay, 2 dash 10 mm means what? Two bars of 10 mm, and this is called as phi. Okay. So this shows that this is the symbol for diameter. So minimum two bars of 10 mm diameter you should provide at the top. Okay. So this type of arrangement is there in the beam, and then this arrangement is provided for to resist the bending moment only. Okay. Basically, a normal beam is designed for the two things. Okay, to resist bending moment and to resist the shear force. This is the purpose. Okay, up till now in SOM you studied that how to calculate the shear force and how to calculate the bending moment. Then now here you are going to learn what is the use of these values. Why do we calculate the bending moment and why do we calculate the shear force? So now the next part you are going to learn over here. So whatever may be the bending moment you are getting, or the maximum bending moment, maximum value of the bending moment. So that bending moment should be balanced by these bars. Okay, that bending moment should get balanced over here. Okay, it should not be the case that due to this bending moment there is a bending of the beam, and due to the bending the cracks are getting developed in the beam. Okay, although the cracks are getting developed in the beam due to many reasons, this is one of the reasons. Okay, so this is the first thing, and the second thing is, if you observe carefully now, you will find the stirrups in the beams also. Or rings are provided in the beam. If I show you in the cross section, you will see it is in this way. Okay, this type of ring is provided. These types of rings are provided in column as well as in the beams also. These are called as stirrups. याला काय म्हणायचं? Stirrups. These are called as stirrups. Okay. These are called as stirrups. So if I show you these stirrups in this cross section, then it will be, suppose these three bars are there. If I see this is the cross section. If I see from the length side, then I am able to see only a single bar. Okay, so in this way. Okay. Similarly, these two blue bars which are given at the top, these are called as anchorage bars, and these are provided. The provision of this bar is compulsory, mandatory in any type of beam. You should provide these minimum two bars of 10 mm. Okay, unless and until your design demands more reinforcement. Okay, now sometimes what happens, the bending moment is also developed at the top of the beam. Okay, so to resist that type of bending moment आपल्याला कधी कधी जास्त बार प्रोव्हाइड करावे लागतात टॉपला. Okay, uh, there are some situations in which we need to provide the more bars at the top. Okay, so in that case we are going to design these bars, how many bars we should provide and what should be the diameter, that we are going to design. Okay. But here as you are see that we now we are assuming that in this bending in this beam there is no bending moment is going to develop at the top. So we are just provide the nominal bars, that is two bars of 10 mm. So these bars we will see in the cross section in this way. I will draw these bars also. So this is the bar in the cross section. Now these stirrups will look like असं दिसणार तुम्हाला stirrup. हे अशा बारला त्या बाजूने गेलेले असणार. Okay, so this type the stirrups are provided like this in the beam. Right. And these stirrups, why to provide these stirrups? These stirrups will take care of shear force. These stirrups are provided to resist the shear force. So be clear, in any structure, okay, mostly in the beams, the bars which we are going to provide, okay, those are we provide those bars to take care of this bending moment. So beam should not fail due to the bending moment. For this purpose, we provide these bars. Okay, and this stirrup. Why the stirrups are provided? The stirrups are provided to take care of this shear force. The beam should not fail due to the excessive shear force. Okay, to avoid the failure of the beam due to the excessive shear force, these types of stirrups are provided in the beam. Okay, so I hope now I am very clear with this. So anybody is having any doubt in this, why we are going to provide the reinforcement, and this provision of the bar, this is called as reinforcement. Okay, the word used for this is reinforcement. When you provide some bars which is having some specific diameters, that is, suppose now these bars are 3 bars of 12 mm diameter, then these collectively this is known as a reinforcement. Okay, so these are the some basic things of the beam. So before moving to the actual subject now, we will revise our shear force and bending moment. Before that, whatever I have told you the introduction right now up to this point, if anybody is having any doubt, any query, you can ask me in the chat, or you can on your mic if you are in proper range and ask the question if any doubt is there. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes. If any doubt is there, ask me the question. How to design this, what we are going to do, those are the further questions. Don't go that way far up till now, as you don't know the base, but whatever the introductory part which I have tried to convey you, what you are going to learn over here, and some basic things, that is what is effective depth, what is overall depth, why the bars are provided, why the stirrups are provided, like those things. If anybody is having any doubt, you can ask me the question. So everything is clear. Whatever I have told you up to this point, everything is clear. Yes, no, or shall I tell you, or shall I repeat one or more points which you have won't understand? You can send the message in the chat also. No, yes. If it is clear, then tell me yes. If it is no, then tell me which point should I repeat so that you will understand. This class should be interactive now, unless and until you tell me uh, you have understood or not. I will go so on, and then you will not understand anything maybe. So that is why I am asking you. If you are having any doubt, then you can send me in the chat, or you can say uh, if everything is understood, then yes. Simply you say yes, then we will move forward. So this introduction I have given you regarding the beam. Now see actually what happens and how this works, that we will see now. Okay, suppose this is a beam. Okay, and for this beam, suppose the support is provided over here. Here is one support, here is the another support. Okay. Uh, Suppose the supports are provided. Just one moment. This is the second support. This is point A. This is point B. Okay. and now the load is acting on this beam. So we will take the simple load. Suppose now point load is acting on the beam. Okay, I will draw the point load over here. This is the point load which is acting on the beam. Okay. Let us say this point load is of 10 kilonewton. Let us take some numerical values so it will be easier to understand. Suppose now this is 2 meter and now this remaining it is 5 meter. Okay. Now if I ask you what is the maximum bending moment in this beam, are you able to calculate it? Yes, no? Just give me the reply. If I ask you now, this question is given to you. This AB is the simply supported beam. Okay. Here you can say at A reaction is RA, at B reaction is RB. And now if I ask you the question, my question is very simple. Okay. So if I tell you to calculate the maximum bending moment in this beam and the location of maximum bending moment, are you able to tell me that? Yes or no? तुम्हाला या दिलेल्या बीम मध्ये मॅक्सिमम बेंडिंग मोमेंट कुठं असेल आणि ती किती असेल त्याची व्हॅल्यू हे तुम्ही सांगू शकताय का? जर ही सिंपल बीम तुमच्या समोर आली तर what is the maximum bending moment? Now suppose this is point C. Okay, so how to calculate the bending moment? What we generally do? What is the first thing we generally do? We calculate the reactions RA and RB. Okay, we calculate the reactions RA and RB. So how to calculate RA and RB now? WAB by L. This is the formula, correct? Okay, WAB by L is the formula where A is 2, B is 5, L is 7. Total span is 7 meter. Okay, so now this is the formula. Now in this beam suppose if I consider the self weight of the beam also, okay, here if I consider the self weight of the beam also, now if I add one more thing, self weight is always UDL. Okay, so now suppose here it is the UDL and suppose now 5 kilonewton per meter is the self weight of the beam. Okay, now again my question is same. What is the maximum bending moment in the beam and what is the location of maximum bending moment? How you are going to calculate? Okay. For the simply supported beam which is having only point load, you told me the formula WAB by L, which is absolutely right. We can calculate and we can manually also we can easily calculate that by finding out the reaction RA also we can easily calculate the bending moment. But now if I consider self weight of the beam. So now when you are going to design any type of structure, suppose now you are designing the slab, you are designing the column or you are designing the beam, some weight that is self weight of that structure is also there that you should take into the consideration while designing the structure. नाहीतर काय व्हायचं फक्त स्ट्रक्चर वरती येणारे तुम्ही लोड घेतले आणि त्याचा स्वतःचाच लोड जर तुम्ही कन्सिडर केला नाही, that structure will get failed due to its own load. Why? Because while providing the steel, you have not analyzed its self weight and you have not considered it while designing it. Okay. So now my question is again same. You tell me what is the maximum bending moment and where it will occur. It will be at the center or it will be at point C. हे झालेलं आहे ना तुम्हाला सगळं? झालेलं आहे का नाही? Then you should be in a position to give the answer. After the calculation of shear force and bending moment from this beam, then only we are going to design the beam. And you should know the minute things while analyzing this beam, so that while designing you can provide the safe section. I think in this slide only I will explain to you how we can do this. So now, suppose this is the beam, some supports are provided to the beam, that is a simple support here at this point and at this point also. Here is the point B, this is point A. The reaction at this point A is RA, the reaction at this point B is RB, and you can say this the sulfate of the beam, that is UDL. Okay. Sulfate of the beam, the value of the sulfate is 5 kilonewton per meter. Okay. And the point load is acting on the beam, we can consider it over here. So now at this point, here is one point load which is acting on the beam, and suppose it is 10 kilonewton. And now we want to calculate what is the shear force and bending moment on the beam. Okay. So now first we will go by the basic method. Okay. We will not use any shortcut or any formula to calculate this. We will go by the basic method. You should also understand the basic. So what we will do, we will calculate the reactions RA and RB. Now how to calculate the reactions RA and RB? You have learned the equations of equilibrium. Equations of equilibrium. Okay. You have learned the equations of equilibrium. What are those equations? You are knowing these things. Summation Fx equal to 0. What is the meaning of that? Sum of all the forces along x-axis or along x direction. It must be always 0 when the structure is in equilibrium. In this, if the force is moving towards right, we take it as plus. If it is moving towards left, we take this as minus. Second thing is that summation Fy equal to 0. Sum of all the vertical forces or sum of the forces which is along the y-axis, it is always 0. Okay, so all the vertical forces. So upward we generally take it as plus, and downward we take it as minus. Okay, so generally upward is plus and downward is minus. Downward is minus. And the last equation is summation m about any point is equal to 0. Okay, so the summation m about any point is equal to 0. If you take the moment of the force about any point, then it must be 0. So clockwise movement is positive, anti-clockwise movement is negative. Okay, so from first year you are using these equations of equilibrium, these three equations. So now my basic question to you is, what is the meaning of this equilibrium? What do you understand from this word equilibrium? Unless and until you understand it, you won't able to design the structure, or what I can say, designing is just not like that. These some steps are there. You should follow these steps. If it is safe, then your design will get accepted. This is not the case. You should get feel from your inside that what type of reinforcement I should provide in this structure so it will stay. And for that, you must be clear with these all fundamental things. So these are the basic three equations of equilibrium. So my question is, what is the meaning of this equilibrium? तुम्हाला काय वाटतं इक्विलिब्रियम म्हणजे जनरली काय असतं? Anybody can tell? Anybody from you? Balance between opposing forces. Balance between opposing forces. That is the equilibrium. Okay. Now, under the application of the force, body remains unchanged. Is the equilibrium. No, if under the application of the force, if the body remains unchanged, then that body is rigid body. We can't, but still we can't say that it is in equilibrium or it is not. It is not in the equilibrium. Okay, if the and the first thing is balance between the opposing forces. So now let us take one example. Suppose now this surface is there. Okay, this is your ground level. Okay. Sum of all acting forces is zero. That I have already told you. No, sum of the all forces are acting forces are zero, balanced or stable. My question is equilibrium, stable or balanced. What is the meaning of stable and balanced? How you can interpret it mathematically unless and until you express anything in mathematical form, you won't able to specify it in structural engineering. Okay, now suppose this is the ground level and a person is standing over here. Suppose now a person is standing over here. So my question is to you again. Okay, uh, somebody has given me the answer that balance between the opposing forces. Now, if you see that the weight of this person will act downward, am I right? Weight will act downward, and this person is he is not doing anything. He is just stood over there on this platform, or he is standing over there. Okay, suppose now if you stand up there at your position where you are there right now, you are not doing anything. Okay, just if a person is stand up, then his weight is acting vertically downward. Then this person is in equilibrium or not? What you will see? You will say this person is in equilibrium or he is not in equilibrium. This is the right answer. In assumed conditions in which the resultant of all the forces acting on the body is zero, then we are saying that the system is in equilibrium. This is the right definition of equilibrium, or rightly you understood what is the equilibrium is. Equilibrium means what? Whenever the resultant force acting on any system is zero, then you are going to say that this is in equilibrium. होते का काय सांगतोय ते आपण जे अज्युम करतो का नाही ही बीम इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये आहे म्हणून हे तीन इक्वेशन आपण वापरू शकतो तर ह्याच्या मागे बेस काय आहे तर द मीनिंग ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम इज व्हॉटएव्हर द रिझल्टंट फोर्स which is acting on this beam is zero means हा beam वरती कशाही forces act होत आहेत the force may be UDL, it may be point load, it may be inclined, some moment is also acting on the beam, whatever may be the condition is there. But if you at the end of the day, if you calculate the resultant of all this force system, that resultant is zero. Okay, then and then only you are saying that the system is in equilibrium. Okay, and if this condition is satisfied, if the resultant is zero, then and then only you can use this equation. Okay, now how this condition is related to these equations? See, how do you calculate the resultant? Resultant is normally calculated R is equal to summation fx square, okay, plus summation fy square in under root, okay, under root. R चा हा फॉर्म्युला आहे रिझल्टंट तुम्ही कसे कॅल्क्युलेट करता समेशन एफ एक्स स्क्वेअर प्लस समेशन एफ वाय स्क्वेअर म्हणजे नॉर्मली तुमची डायग्राम कशी असते की तुम्ही suppose here this is all your summation fx, here on this axis this is all your summation fy. Okay, I will take the different color here fy. Okay, now you join this parallelogram, you know the law of parallelogram of forces, and then this diagonal will represent your resultant r. Okay, and this is your angle, what you can say alpha with horizontal. Okay, this is the basic thing. So how this r is calculated? Okay, r is nothing but, now if you see this triangle, okay, now if you see this triangle, I will draw this triangle here. This is your r. Now the second thing is this vertical line is nothing but your all your vertical forces, sum of all the vertical forces. This line represents that. So if I draw this line, and again this is your summation fx line. Okay, now if you give the name, here it is your summation fy. Okay, so this is your summation fy, this is your summation fx, and this angle is 90 degree. Now if you use the Pythagoras theorem, then what does it say? This will become your hypotenuse. Then hypotenuse square is equal to this side square plus this side square. And if I want to calculate the hypotenuse now, then I should make these two terms in under root. That is why this formula comes. Okay, the basic of this formula is from here. Okay, so now while using this formula, what you are saying that the equilibrium means what? The resultant force is zero. म्हणजे R ची व्हॅल्यू किती असायला पाहिजे? झिरो असायला पाहिजे. आता जर मी हा फॉर्म्युला बघितला तर काय दिसतंय मला या फॉर्म्युलामध्ये? व्हॉट आय एम गोइंग टू सी इन दिस फॉर्म्युला? इट इज समेशन एफ एक्स स्क्वेअर अँड समेशन एफ वाय स्क्वेअर. जर मला या R ची व्हॅल्यू झिरो पाहिजे असेल, झिरो, तर एफ एक्स ची व्हॅल्यू किती असायला पाहिजे आणि एफ वाय ची व्हॅल्यू किती असायला पाहिजे? म्हणजे मी तुम्हाला उदाहरण सांगतो. मला जर एखादी सिस्टीम इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये पाहिजे किंवा इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये असायला पाहिजे, तर त्याचा रिझल्टंट किती असायला पाहिजे? झिरो असायला पाहिजे. ओके, now this is the formula what I am having for R. Now what we can say, if we see the number line, okay, 0 इथं असतो आणि वर सगळे पॉझिटिव्ह नंबर 1 2 3 and so on, all positive numbers will be here, and at bottom -1 -2 -3 and all negative numbers will be here in point also. Now let us try one by one. Okay, now if I put 1 over here, if I take the value 1, okay, if I assume that my summation fx is 1 and my summation fy is also 1, both are positive. Okay, if I keep the value here 1 1, 1 square is 1, 1 square is again 1, 1 plus 1 2, under root 2, it is not equal to 0. Okay, if I take both the negative numbers, if I take, so we will continue with this. So my basic purpose is what I am trying to tell you. Our formula is R is equal to under root summation fx square plus under root summation fy square. हा माझा फॉर्म्युला आहे. ओके, दिस इज आवर फॉर्म्युला फॉर आर. इक्विलिब्रियम कंडिशन म्हणजे काय आहे? सो इक्विलिब्रियम मीन्स रिझल्टंट झिरो असायला पाहिजे. इक्विलिब्रियम कंडिशन सेज दॅट रिझल्टंट मस्ट बी झिरो. मग माझ्याकडे तीन टाईपचे नंबर आहेत. पहिला एक झिरो असतो, वर सगळे कसले असतात? पॉझिटिव्ह नंबर. झिरोच्या खाली सगळे कसले असतात? निगेटिव्ह नंबर. मी पॉझिटिव्ह नंबर एखादा ठेवून बघितला. ओके, इफ आय अज्युम दॅट दीज टू व्हॅल्यूज आर पॉझिटिव्ह, 1 1 जर मी व्हॅल्यू ठेवली, दोन्ही पॉझिटिव्ह, तर मला आन्सर 2 मिळते, अंडर रूट 2. तो रिझल्टंट झिरो झाला नाही. ओके, now if I assume minus value, let us say that summation fx is -2 and summation fy is also -2. काय होईल मग? -2 square 4, again -2 square 4, so I will get again under root 8. Okay, so if I keep both the numbers what we can say positive, then also I am not going to get 0. If I keep both the values negative, then also I am not getting the 0. Now let us take one more thing. We will consider summation fx as positive, fy as negative. Suppose now summation fx is +2 and summation fy is -2. Then also here the term is square. So 2 square is 4, -2 square is again 4. So again we are not getting the 0 value. So there is only one condition, then and then you are getting R is 0, is that if you put this value as 0 and this value is also 0. If both these values are 0, then and only then your resultant will be 0. Otherwise it is not 0. Are you getting my point? समजलं? मला रिझल्टंट 0 कधी मिळेल? जर माझं समेशन एफ एक्स 0 असेल आणि जर समेशन एफ वाय 0 असेल तरच मला आर 0 मिळणार आहे. अदरवाइज मला आर 0 मिळणार नाही. म्हणजे whenever we consider the system is in equilibrium, that is resultant force 0, माझी पहिली कंडिशन काय आली? my summation fx should be 0. and second condition काय आली? summation fy should be 0. This is your equation number 1, this is equation number 2, and how in this way these two equations are coming to the picture. तर तुम्ही जे सारखं वापरता ना हे समेशन एफ एक्स झिरो समेशन एफ वाय झिरो, त्याच्या पाठीमागचं जे लॉजिक आहे, दॅट लॉजिक इज दिस थिंग. नाउ इज इट क्लिअर? So in this way, if you understand everything now, there is no need to by heart anything. Okay, if you understood everything by logic, why it is like that, then and then only there is no need to by heart the formulas. Okay. सो मग काय कळालं की समेशन एफ एक्स झिरो असायला पाहिजे, समेशन एफ वाय झिरो असायला पाहिजे, तरच ते इक्विलिब्रियम मध्ये असते. तर तसं नाही. इक्विलिब्रियम म्हणजे काय? तर इक्विलिब्रियम मीन्स युअर रिझल्टंट फोर्स इज झिरो, अँड व्हेन युअर रिझल्टंट फोर्स इज झिरो, then the formula for resultant is summation fx square plus summation fy square, and there is only one condition when your resultant is zero, that is when you put all these two values, if your these two values are zero, then and only then your resultant is zero. That is why these two equations are there, which you are every time you have used this equation, that is the equations of equilibrium. And now if you closely see that, what is the basic formula for moment? So moment is nothing but force into perpendicular distance. Okay, this also you have learned before. Force into perpendicular distance. Now suppose if summation fx is 0 and summation fy is 0, what does it mean? Forces in x directions are 0, forces in y direction are 0, so my total force will be 0. Okay, if I consider these two, then my total force is 0, because in x direction forces are 0, in y direction also forces are 0. And if my total force is 0, this F will become 0. And if this F will become 0, then 0 you can multiply anything with 0, you will get the value as 0. So M0, this is your third equation. That is, we will always take it as summation M is equal to 0. So these are your three equations of equilibrium which you are using. Okay, so this is the basic logic behind this equilibrium. So whenever anybody asks you the question, let me know what is the equilibrium, you just simply say that when the resultant force, when the number of forces are acting on the system and the resultant of all these forces is zero, then that system is in equilibrium. Okay, resultant must be zero. That is the exact and correct answer. Okay, so now coming back to our problem. So we were solving the problem, and I have drawn here the beam. Okay, and there are some supports are provided. Two supports over here. B, A. This is your reaction RA. Here is the reaction RB, and the beam is carrying some self weight. Okay, so I will draw here its self weight, and this self weight I have told you it is 5 kilonewton per meter. Then the point load is also acting. Okay. The point load is also acting over here, and this point load we have considered it as a 10 kilonewton. 10 kilonewton. Now what is the conventional way? In the conventional way, what we do, we calculate the reaction RA and RB. Now to calculate the RA, if I take the moment of all the forces about B equal to 0, then I will get the value of RA. Okay. कॅल्क्युलेटर जवळ घेऊन बसा नसलं तर प्रत्येक लेक्चरला कॅल्क्युलेटर जवळ ठेवायचं. So now if I apply summation M about B equal to 0, I know the sign conventions. Clockwise movements are always positive, anti-clockwise movements are negative. Okay. And I have already told you the distance. This is 2 meter and this is 5 meter. So now what, how to calculate the reaction? So taking the moment of RA about point B. Okay. So this is the RA force. This is the line of action of RA. RA is situated over here. And from point B, what is the distance of this RA? This is 5 plus 2, 7. Okay. So the formula for moment is force into perpendicular distance. So my force is RA, that is reaction RA, into distance is 7. Now how to determine that this is plus or minus, which type of moment it is? So see the arrow. Okay, this is upward. So stretch this arrow. या फोर्सला थोडं वर घ्यायचं, असं उचलायचं. arrow कुठे वरच्या डायरेक्शनला, वर उचलायचं थोडं. मग आता बघायचं पॉइंट कुठल्या बाजूला आहे. See where is the point is situated, at your right hand side or at your left hand side. If it is at your right hand side, then rotate the force along the direction of the point. Okay, rotate this force. Now if you rotate this force, check here the direction. Okay, check over here. इथं चेक करा कुठली डायरेक्शन येते, clockwise का anti clockwise. If you rotate this force in this way towards this point, so it is clockwise, so it will become plus. So this value is plus. Okay, then minus this 10 kilonewton. Okay, so again the 10 kilonewton force is there, point is over here B. So हा arrow कसा आहे, डाउनवर्ड आहे, तर ह्याला थोडं खाली ओढायचं. टेक दिस डाउनवर्ड. Now point is here, so rotate this force towards the point. If you rotate, this is the direction. Okay, so this direction is anti-clockwise, so it is minus. So it is minus 10 into what is the distance, 5. Okay, and last thing is this UDL. Okay, now always remember this thing, while taking the moment of the UDL, you need to convert this UDL into the point load first. Okay, UDL means what? Uniformly distributed load, or it is also called as rectangular load. Okay. So I hope you know how to convert the UDL into the point load. I will write the terms over here directly. If you won't understand, you can ask me in the chat. I will repeat, or I will tell you how to convert the UDL into the point load. Okay. So now again, if you see this UDL is also moving down. Okay, so this UDL is also moving down, so its arrow must be downward. So again, if this is downward, then it will rotate in anti-clockwise direction towards this point P. So again, this it will become minus, and here first the intensity of the UDL is 5. This UDL is start from point A and end at point B. So total span is 5 plus 2, that is 7. So this 5 into 7, this 5 into 7 is the conversion of this UDL into the point load, and that point load will act at the center of this 7. Okay, so that point load will act at the center of this point. इथं कुठेतरी the point load येईल. This is nothing but this arrow shows the conversion of UDL into the point load, आणि याची intensity किती असणार आहे, 5 into 7 kilonewton. This is the intensity, and where it will act, it will act at the center of this 7. What is the span? It is 7. So it will act at a distance of 3.5 meter from here and 3.5 meter from this end. So then we can write here into what is the distance now, 3.5. Okay, which is equal to, now for RB, what is the moment of RB? The moment of RB about point B is 0. ओके, कारण की मी या सगळ्या फोर्सेसचे डिस्टन्स कुठून मोजतोय, बी पॉइंट पासून मोजतोय सगळ्याचे डिस्टन्स. बी पासून का मोजतोय, तर आय एम टेकिंग द मोमेंट ऍट पॉइंट बी. जर ए ला मोमेंट घेतली असती मी, तर ए पासून काउंट केलं असतं. सो नाउ इफ आरबी इज पासिंग थ्रू पॉइंट बी, तर बी पासून आरबी चे डिस्टन्स किती आहे, 0. सो दॅट इज वाय इट्स मोमेंट विल बिकम 0. Okay. So now summation FB equal to 0, this right hand side 0 I have written over here as it is, and from this you can calculate the value of RA. So let me know what is the value of RA now. Calculate the value of RA and let me know the value of RA. किती येते ते मला सांगा कॅल्क्युलेट करून. $24.64 kilonewton. Okay. Everybody is checking. 24.64. Okay. 24.64 kilonewton. So 24.64 kilonewton. Okay, you have got the positive answer, so it is moving up. So now we got the value of RA. Okay, आता आपल्याला कशाची व्हॅल्यू मिळाली, RA ची व्हॅल्यू मिळाली. So now after this we will calculate the value of RB. Okay. After this we will calculate the value of RB. So I will write the value of RA over here, 24.64 kilonewton. This is the value of RA. Okay. Now to calculate the value of RB, again you know you can apply summation Fy equal to 0. This is the very simplest equation. Summation Fy equal to 0 while the upward forces are plus, downward are minus, then plus this RA is moving upward, so it is plus 24.64, minus this 10 kilonewton force is moving down, so minus 10, minus this UDL. Okay, this UDL, so don't multiply this, convert this UDL into the point load, but don't multiply this thing with the distance because this is not a moment, we just want a force. So it is minus, how much it is, 5 into 7, okay, which is equal plus RB. RB is moving upward, we have considered it as a plus. So if you solve this, you will get the answer of RB also. So let me know the answer of RB. So RA is 24.64. Let me know the answer for RB. 20.36. Okay. So the answer is 20.36 kilonewton. I am not calculating anything. You calculate it and give me the answer. So 20.36. 20.36. Okay. So here, now I will write over here 20.36 kilonewton. डायग्राम खराब झाली जरा सांग हे करू. Okay, so I will draw the diagram once again, so that I will tell you the simplest way to calculate the shear force without using any sign conventions. Again I will draw the same diagram. These basic things are very important. So RA, जो था RA 24.64 kilonewton, and then RB, what is the value, 20.36 kilonewton, and this beam carries a UDL over this entire span of 5 kilonewton per meter, and then one point load, somewhere here is the point load, and the value of this load is 10 kilonewton. Then the distance, okay, so the distance from this point to this point, and again from here to here, okay. So the distance is, this is 2 meter and this is 5 meter. Now we want to calculate the shear force, so I will give the name. This is point A, this is C, this is B. So see, if you observe the beam is basically divided into two segments. That is, first segment is AC, second is CB. Okay. So just I will tell you, always start from the left hand side. While if you want to calculate the shear force easily, then always start from the left hand side. Whatever type of the beam it may be, cantilever beam असू दे, तुमची overhang beam असू दे, simply supported असू दे, continuous beam असू दे. Always start from the left hand. Okay. And the second most thing is, तुम्ही sign convention वापरता तसले sections, if the force is there on the upward side of the section, right up, then this is negative. If this type of sign conventions are there, then this is positive. Don't use this. There is no, these sign conventions are not required. Okay, just you need to follow the simple sign conventions. If the force or reaction is moving upward, then it is plus. If it is moving downward, then it is minus. Okay, simple thing is there. Simultaneously we will draw the diagram, shear force diagram, and along with the calculation. Okay, so keep your calculator ready. So now if we draw the shear diagram, so this is our baseline. What is the meaning of baseline? The value of the shear force on this line is 0 kilonewton. This is nothing but your baseline. If the positive values are there, we will plot above the baseline. If the negative values are there, we will plot below the baseline. Okay, now we will start from this point A. Okay, so if I come to point A, okay, now I am start my journey from point A to point B. समजा हे दोन स्टेशन आहेत. सोलापूर कडून तुम्ही चाललाय तुळजापूरला, पंढरपूरला, ओके, किंवा पंढरपूर कडून चाललाय कुठेतरी. तर this is your starting point, this is your end point. Now you have started from this point A. Now when you start, you observe that there is upward reaction, and that upward reaction is 24.64. So reaction is upward. तुम्हाला दोनच गोष्टी लक्षात ठेवायच्या म्हणून सांगितलंय. इफ द फोर्स ऑर रिएक्शन इज मुव्हिंग अपवर्ड देन इट इज प्लस, इफ इट इज मुव्हिंग डाउनवर्ड देन इट इज मायनस. ओके, इन द केसेस ऑफ फोर्सेस. Okay, so now this force is moving up. So moving up means positive. So I will draw the diagram over here, positive diagram. Okay, so I will plot this in this way. Okay, and this is the value already written over here, 24.64. Okay, so if I plot I plot this on the positive side because RA is moving up. Now if you move further, just now if you pass the point A, then you observe that one UDL is there, and this UDL is started from this point and up to the point C it is continued, and at point C it is 10 kilonewton point load is there and it is moving downward. So in the segment AC, although this UDL is acting from point A to point B, whenever in between the vertical loads are acting on the beam, you should consider that much part of the beam. म्हणजे आता इथं या बीम वरती एकच पॉइंट लोड ऍक्ट होतोय म्हणून आपण या पार्टला दोन पोर्शन मध्ये डिवाइड केलं. हा एक एसी पोर्शन, दुसरा सीबी पोर्शन. तर अजून एक लोड असला असता इथं तर बीम ही 3 पोर्शन मध्ये डिवाइड झाली असती. सो नाउ व्हेन यू पास दिस पॉइंट ए पॉइंटच्या तुम्ही पुढे आला की तुम्हाला काय दिसलं की युडीएल आहे बाबा इथं, आणि हा युडीएल कुठल्या पॉइंट पर्यंत आहे? सी पॉइंट पर्यंत. सो द स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट ऑफ युडीएल इज ए अँड फॉर द सेगमेंट एसी एंड पॉइंट इज सी. ओके, मग हा युडीएल जो आहे तो अपवर्ड आहे का डाऊनवर्ड आहे? डाऊनवर्ड. तर पहिल्यांदा तुमची व्हॅल्यू काय आली होती आर ची? 24.64. तर कॅल्क्युलेटर वरती 24.64 टाईप करून ठेवायचं. ओके, आता मी जोपर्यंत झिरो दाबा म्हणत नाही तोपर्यंत कॅल्क्युलेटरचं झिरो दाबूच नका तुम्ही. सो 24.64 प्लस प्लॉट केलं. त्याच्यातनं आता मला काय करावं लागणार? हा युडीएल फक्त मायनस करावा लागणार. का मायनस करावा लागणार? तर हा कसा चाललाय? डाऊन चाललाय. मग युडीएलचा एंड पॉइंट कुठे आहे? सी ला. म्हणजे येणारी व्हॅल्यू मी कुठं पॉइंट करायला पाहिजे? सी ला प्लॉट करायला पाहिजे. ओके, युडीएलच्या व्हॅल्यू प्लॉट करताना त्याच्या एंड पॉइंटला प्लॉट करायचे. नाव 24.64 हे आपल्या कॅल्क्युलेटर वरती आहे, हे प्लस आहे मुव्हिंग अप, मायनस मला एवढा युडीएल मायनस करावा लागणार. या युडीएल ची इंटेन्सिटी किती आहे? 5 आहे. सो टू मायनस दिस UDL I need to convert this UDL into the point load. So what is the intensity? Intensity is 5 into what is the span? That is portion AC, it is 2 meter. 5 into 2. So calculator वरती पुढंच minus 5 into 2 एवढंच करायचं आणि इक्वल टू दाबायचं. So you will get the answer. काय मिळालं असेल तुम्हाला? 5 into 2 12 म्हणजे 14.64. ओके, सो ही 14.64 जी व्हॅल्यू आली ही कुठे जायला पाहिजे? तुमची सी पॉइंटला जायला पाहिजे. सी पॉइंटला का जाणार? कारण युडीएल ए ला चालू झाला आणि संपला कुठं? सी ला. आपण ओके, सो हिअर this value, and again this is the positive value, so somewhere here you will get the value. Okay, and this value is 14.64. Okay, so this value is 14.64, and if you join this, it will be like this. Okay, Now when you come exactly on the point C, आता इथपर्यंत आलो ठीक आहे, मग एक्झॅक्टली पॉइंट सी वरती आल्यावरती अजून काय दिसलं की पॉइंट सी कॅरीज अ डाउनवर्ड लोड ऑफ 10 किलोन्यूटन. ओके, 10 किलोन्यूटन. अपवर्ड आहे का डाउनवर्ड आहे? डाउनवर्ड आहे. मग ह्याच्यातनंच परत काय करायचं? -10. कॅल्सीवरती डायरेक्ट दाबायचं. -10. आन्सर -10. किती आलं? 4.64. ओके, म्हणजे हे किती येणार? ह्याच्यातनं जर 10 मायनस झालं तर इथं कुठेतरी येईल 4.64. पॉझिटिव्हच आहे. निगेटिव्ह झालंय का? नाही झालेलं. किती आलंय? 4.64. ओके, सो दिस व्हॅल्यू इज नाव 4.64. मग ह्या सी पॉइंट पासून आता परत मी पुढे चाललोय, तर परत युडीएल स्टार्ट झाला आणि एंड कुठं झालाय? बी पॉइंटला झाला. सो अगेन 4.64 मायनस युडीएलची इंटेन्सिटी किती आहे? 5 इंटू युडीएलचा स्पॅन किती आहे? स्पॅन किती आहे हा? 5. बरोबर ना? सी टू बी मध्ये स्पॅन किती आहे? 5. सो अगेन कॅल्क्युलेटर वरती डायरेक्ट आन्सर -5 इंटू 5 किती येत आहे? -20.36. ओके, सो युअर व्हॅल्यू इज -20.36. हे तुमच्या कॅल्क्युलेटर वरती यायला पाहिजे. ओके, सो हिअर -20.36 means it will be over here. बिकॉज युडीएल हा सी ला स्टार्ट झाला, आता सी पॉइंटच्या पुढे एंड कुठं झालाय? बी ला. त्याच्यामुळे ही व्हॅल्यू कुठे येणार? तुमची इथे येणार 20.36. कळतंय का? मायनस आहे म्हणून खाली प्लॉट केली. and just you need to join these two lines. 4.64 पासून आलो. ओके, हे जॉईन केलं. त्याच्यानंतर पुढं जेव्हा मी एक्झॅक्टली बी पॉइंट वरती आलो, व्हॉट आय ऑब्झर्व एक्झॅक्टली ऑन द बी पॉइंट? this RB reaction is there and it is moving up. Okay, so already on the calculator I am having the value of -20.36. Okay, and this RB is moving up, so it is positive plus. And what is the value of RB? It is plus 20.36. So the final answer is 0. So I should close this line here to the baseline. So this portion is positive and this portion is negative. So this is called as shear force diagram for this given beam. Okay, now if you observe this shear force diagram, now what is the use of this shear force diagram? Now if you observe, one observation, you can see the values from this diagram. So what we came to know that at the support point, A point and B point, your shear force is maximum. बघा तुम्ही जिथं तुमचे सपोर्ट अप्लाय केलेले आहेत, सो ॲट ए पॉइंट यू हॅव गिवन द सपोर्ट, द व्हॅल्यू फॉर द शिअर फोर्स इज 24.64. ॲट बी पॉइंट अगेन you have provided the support, the value is 20.36. Okay, and in between if you calculate any value, suppose you calculate the value of the at this point, value at this point, any other point, these are the points at which you can calculate the value. So these values are less than these two values normally. Okay, for the portion AC, if you calculate the value anywhere on this line, the greater value is 24.64. And same is the thing for this portion CB. If you calculate the value along at any point along this line, the maximum value must be 20.36. म्हणजे ह्याच्यावरनं एक काय तुम्हाला दिसलं की बीम मध्ये शियर फोर्स जो असतो तो मॅक्सिमम नेहमी कुठे येणार आहे? तुमच्या सपोर्टलाच येणार आहे. जिथं तुम्ही सपोर्ट दिलेला असेल त्याच पॉइंटला शियर फोर्स मॅक्सिमम असणार आहे. म्हणजे थोडक्यात प्रॅक्टिकली जर ह्याला समजून घ्यायचं असेल तर अ बीम इज ऑलवेज रेस्ट ऑन द कॉलम. Okay, the support provided to the beam is nothing but it is column. So where the beam and column meet at that point, okay, the junction of beam and column, at that point your shear force is always maximum. Are you getting my point? At that point, whenever a beam and column is meeting uh, at a juncture or at a junction, then at that junction the shear force is always maximum. Okay, and I have told you already, for the shear force, to resist the shear force, जर आपल्याला shear force resist करायचा असेल तर what we always provide, we always provide the stirrups. ओके, स्टिरप्स म्हणजे काय असतं, अशी गोल रिंग असते, अशी रिंग असते, अशी रिंग त्या बारला सगळ्या टाय केलेली असते आणि त्याचं हुक असं फिरवलेलं असतं इथं. याला या बाजूला किंवा इकडं कुठंतरी हुक दिलेलं असतं एक अडकवायला. ओके, सो दिस इज नथिंग बट द स्टिरप. मग ह्या स्टिरप ज्या आहेत आपल्याला, ह्या जास्तीत जास्त कुठं टाकावे लागतील आपल्याला स्टिरप? एंड साइडला, जिथं सपोर्ट दिलेला आहे तिथं जर माझा शिअर फोर्स मॅक्सिमम येत असेल तर या शिअर फोर्सला रेजिस्ट करायला आपण कोणाला तिथे ठेवणार आहे? स्टिरप्स टाकणार आहे. ओके, वी विल प्लेस द स्टिरप्स. आणि इथं पण एंडला शिअर फोर्स जास्त आहे, सो वी विल प्लेस द स्टिरप्स हिअर ऑल्सो. बट इफ यू सी in between also shear force is present. Okay, but the value of shear force is not maximum. So what I can do in this case also, म्हणजे मला काय करावं लागणार आहे, पॉइंट ए पासून पॉइंट बी पर्यंत throughout the point I need to provide the shear force, आपलं स्टिरप्स. समजलं? But I can do one thing in this, that if the shear force value is maximum over here at the supports, then I can provide the stirrups closely spaced here. म्हणजे मी इथं हा जो एंड आहे, इथून ते असा हा बीमचा एंड आहे. आता मी डायरेक्ट रफ डायग्राम मध्ये दाखवतोय तुम्हाला, एंड आहे. तर मी इथं जे स्टिरप्स, ए पॉइंट आहे, हा ए पॉइंट आहे, हा बी पॉइंट आहे, मी काय करू की ए पॉइंट जवळ स्टिरप्स, जोपर्यंत ही व्हॅल्यू मला एका सर्टन रेंज पर्यंत जरा मॅक्सिमम वाटते, या रेंज पर्यंत मी हा स्टिरप जवळजवळ टाकेन, अशा जवळजवळ प्रोव्हाइड करेन. इथं पण मला समजा वाटतं इथपर्यंत व्हॅल्यू मॅक्सिमम आहे, तर इथपर्यंत मी काय करेन, एकदम जवळजवळ स्टिरप्स प्रोव्हाइड करेन अशा. ओके, आणि इथं शिअर फोर्स आहे, झिरो नाहीये, मग म्हणजे मला स्टिरप्स द्यावेच लागणार आहेत. सो आय विल प्लेस द स्टिरप्स बाय गिव्हिंग सम मोर डिस्टन्स, कारण इथे एवढी गरज नाहीये, बिकॉज शिअर फोर्स इज लेस. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो म्हणजे तुमच्या शिअर फोर्स डायग्राम वरून सुद्धा तुम्हाला स्टिरप्स प्लेसिंग हे कसं कळतं, दॅट आय वॉन्ट टू टेल यू. दिस इज व्हेरी शॉर्ट इंट्रोडक्शन की तुम्ही डीसीएस मध्ये काय करणार आहात. सो आय होप नाउ यू आर क्लिअर विथ दिस, that how to provide the stirrups. So while designing the beam, we will see this in detail, and in similar manner, from bending moment diagram, you can able to decide that how to provide the path. म्हणजे मी इथं सिम्पली काय केलं, मला कळलं इकडे इकडे शिअर फोर्स जास्त आहे, मी हे जवळ टाकले. ते किती जवळ ठेवले, काय स्पेसिंग ठेवलं, हा नंतरचा प्रश्न आहे. दॅट पार्ट विल कम इन टू पिक्चर लेटर ऑन. But basically I got the idea now. For this portion I should place it closely for these two portions, and for this portion I can increase the spacing. And what will happen due to this placing of the stirrups, the first thing is this structure will get safe against the shear force. It will not collapse due to shear force. And second thing is I will achieve the economy also. जिथं गरज नाही तिथं मी डिस्टन्स वाढवतोय, म्हणजे कमी स्टिरप्स लागणार मला, आणि जिथं गरज आहे तिथं मी डिस्टन्स कमी करतो. ओके, जर मी हेच स्पेसिंग थ्रू आउट कंटिन्यू ठेवलं असतं, हे कडेला जे येते, तर मला जास्त स्टिरप्स लागल्या असत्या, म्हणजे माझा खर्च वाढला असता. ओके, so this is the basic things. In this way how we design the structure. Okay, so I hope now this, with this short introduction, you are clear with this. So in the upcoming units we will see the details. There are so many criterias. Okay, just this is the overview. So in the next lecture we will start with our unit number 1, and if required you can tell me, I will tell you how to calculate the bending moment also by the easiest way at any point. Okay, or if it is not required, then in the next lecture we will start the our unit number 1. Okay. Now listen carefully for your attendance. I think 74 students are there, so 72. What you need to do, don't left it. Okay, I am not going to take any screenshot for your attendance. In the chat, okay, don't message me private. In the go to chat and select public option, so your chat will be visible to everybody, and in that you need to type A space and your roll number, B space and your roll number. Suppose now your roll number is 3, single digit roll number, then you should write 03, A space 03, B space 05. Likewise, write your roll number in the chat. I will save this chat only, and that will be your attendance. And then you can left. Okay, after sending the attendance, you can left.